Mr. Moderator, is this thing working? Okay, Mr. Moderator, my good friend, Honorable Dakasi Kabaramaido, General Mugisha Muntu, my good friend, and the lady, the lawyer, who are meeting for the first time today, I think, who will form the panel discussion immediately after I make my presentation. I apologize for being late. I had things running into each other, and this became a victim. It's not my nature to arrive at meetings late. I always come on schedule. This is one of the exceptions where other people affect my own schedule by their poor timekeeping. And it is also important that I talk to them. So you will forgive me for that. I think I'm in a safe distance, and all of you are wearing masks, so I can speak without mine. Is that okay? Yes. So that you can also read my face and read my lips, and I'll know that I mean what I'm saying. Thank you very much for this opportunity to interact with young people once again. I've done this a few times, and each time I do it, I feel more inspired than the time I did it before. Because working as young people, sometimes people advise us about the future. A future we don't really understand that much. I remember myself growing up, struggling every morning to walk 7 kilometers to school on a footpath road with dew and rain and flooding rivers, and braving the day without lunch. Trying to figure out a future I could not even understand. Trying to do things for a time I had no idea about. But we were there, walking every morning from 5 a.m. in the morning to go to school, on the motivation of my father, who kept telling me, go to school. If you go to school, things will change, as a young person. My father was in the school management for a long time without having any of his children at that school. It was a primary school. And then the day I was mature enough to go to school, age 7, he took me to school on a bicycle. Many of you will not understand how a father can take a child on a bicycle because you're used to cars to take children to school. My own children don't understand when I tell them I was taken on a bicycle. So I can understand the structure of your brains each time you try to appreciate the things that are going on. Your calibration is different from the calibration of my generation, who was so honored to be put on a bicycle to be taken to school. But that is not the important thing. The important thing is what happened to me as soon as I reached school. I had a head teacher called Luka Labeja. I still remember the room with everything. But the building has collapsed now. But I still have the mental picture of the room that I entered. And my father entered holding my hand, and the head teacher was standing there. He said, Mr. Okori, welcome. And I walked in a bit timid. They had not made for me a uniform, so I went in trousers. What the head teacher did to me that day is in me till I don't know when. He picked the school stamp, and started stamping my whole body. My shirt, my hands, my everything, say, welcome to school. this is your cool, this is your future. It stamped the whole of my body. So each time the rains were heavy, I remembered the stamps. Each time the fights, there were too many fights in school that time. I had to fight on average 7 times a day to just stay at school. I'm not counting the other. That's average. There are days we could exceed that. Each time things became so, I remembered the stamps. The question is, as young people, what stamp do you remember that inspires you to move on against all odds? Because the measure of who you are is what you do with what you have. That's Leonardo da Vinci. The measure of who you are is what you do with what you have. What do you have? Because it's upon that that will be measured. What do you have? I hear youthfulness. I hear energy. I hear so many things that young people have that I used to have that now I don't have. The daring nature. What inspires you? What motivates you? What makes you wake up every morning to go and say, well, let me do my part? Ngugi wa Thiong'o said, brother, the struggle begins from where you are. Don't wait to be anything else or become anybody else. The struggle for whatever you want to see change, whatever you want to do to succeed, begins right from where you are. It does not matter that you're a student, no. It does not matter that you're a youth, no, it does not really matter. It does not matter that you're a former army commander, no, it doesn't matter. It begins exactly from where you are. So as we talk now, the struggle for whatever we set out to achieve begins from where we are. That's your front line. You have a responsibility to extend the frontier, join with others, and we achieve what we must. Don't wait to be anything else. You wait too long and the opportunities will have gone. Just use that front line. Somebody else said, if I have a dream, it is but a dream. But if my dream is shared by everybody else, it becomes a reality. I have a dream. All of you remember that speech of I have a dream. If that dream is not shared, if that dream does not become semi-universal, it is but a dream. It is until many people share that dream that becomes a reality. General Muntu here will tell you about Frantz Fanon with his famous saying, every generation must, out of relative obscurity, find its mission. You are a generation of young people. Too many things are obscure. There are things you don't understand. Not that they're difficult to understand, but because you don't expect them to happen the way they're happening. So you don't understand why they're happening the way they're happening. So it's not lack of intelligence. It's just that it is incomprehensible what you see happening around yourself. So that's the obscurity we are talking about. But out of all those complex issues that create this obscurity, you must find your mission. And then after finding your mission, you have a choice, two choices. One, choose one. Either achieve that mission or betray it, that mission or betray it. So you have a choice. Fulfill it, the mission you have so identified, or betray it. But if you believe in ipso family, then betrayal is out of the question. Then you have to be able to walk through that wall to achieve it, because there will be obstacles all around you. I challenge you to look at walls as temporary prohibitions. Look at mountains as temporary challenges. You must be able to climb mountains or move mountains or die trying, because an idea whose time has come is invincible. That's Martin Luther King. So it's up to you, really. The choice is with you, not with anybody else. Many young people like it when they tell them, you are leaders of tomorrow. I say, yes, we will wait for tomorrow. We'll wait for tomorrow. Which tomorrow? Because the future is already here. The future is right here with us. We have to make it. We have to shape it. We have to give it proper direction. We have that responsibility. You cannot be count on anybody else to shape your future. No. Be part of it. Like somebody said, we don't mind what turn history will take, but will not allow history to take any turn without our participation. We really don't care what turn history will take. Let it take whatever turn, but will not allow history to make that turn without our participation. Young or old, you have to participate. The question is, how are you going to participate? What kind of energy are you going to put in the process? Negative energy, positive energy. I strongly propose positive energy. Are we together on that? Because there's also negative energy. I propose to you positive energy. And I think if we all make positive contributions to the missions we have identified and the alliances we have built over time and the realities that have been generated from dreams, then we can say to God, we are ready. We will move. So why are you here? Again, you are here because you are not done. Last year you were here because you were not fulfilled what you needed to fulfill. The day you fulfill it, these meetings will stop. The only reason you keep coming here every day, every year, because you are not done. It's not quite finished. You have not succeeded in inspiring other people to stop holding meetings, but to carry the burden from where they are and move, even without meetings. You have not achieved that yet. So that's the challenge. That's the real challenge. How do we, in small room like this, generate a current that covers the entire young generation and they move on with this motivation? The kind of motivation that extracts people from universities and they go and sweat in the bushes, in the rains, and dodge snakes, and go without food. You have a living testimony here. And did somebody go to him to say, let's go? No. Even if somebody had come to him and he said, let's go. If he had not felt in his heart it was the right thing to do, he was not going. But they came to preach to the converted. So he left without anything. Many of you, if you are called upon to do anything now, you would run. So we need to use these opportunities very well. Every time we get together, through meetings of this nature, and even now I am told, you can see me from different places, which is a big advantage. I don't have to come there for you to see me. You can see me right from where I am. That's my front line. This is an opportunity. How do you use it? Bear in mind that opportunities are what? Are in transition. From the time I started speaking, so many seconds have passed, that will never come back. The same with opportunities. These are lifetime opportunities you are creating for yourselves and other young people in different parts of the country, part of the world. So how do we take charge of this opportunity? There's a priest, an evangelist, called Leonard Ravenhill. He said, an opportunity of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of that opportunity. An opportunity of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of that opportunity. Why? Because all opportunities have a lifetime. They are never permanent. So we use the opportunity to connect people, create purposeful dialogue, not some misleading thing that people are shouting around, which is now the currency in some parts of this country. Noise is very important to some people. I keep urging people, sharpen your arguments, not your voices. But many people prefer sharpening voices. Shouting, down with the sword, down with this. Sharpen your arguments. Because you argue using your mouth. And your mouth is the opening to your brain. If your brain is messed up, your mouth cannot do much. Try a messed up brain and you see how difficult it is. We are trying to evolve vision, entrepreneurship, and service. Like we say in Rotary, above self. That's a generation of young people that we would like to create. Inspired by nothing else but making a contribution to God's people. If you crack his skull open, that's not called a contribution. That's called an assault. If you give the person water, if you show them a road when they are lost, if you help them when they need, like Christ said, then you are putting positive energy and contributing to helping the people of God. So I come here really not to give a lecture. I come here to go back to your initial question. Leveraging youthfulness. I go back to my first question. What do you have? And probably the panelists will help me with answering the question. What do you have? Sometimes we even don't know what we have. We have to be told. We have to be reminded that you have two hands actually. Many people don't have it, but you have two hands. You have to be reminded that you have a head and a brain inside it that you must use to create opportunities and create networks. You have to be reminded that you have two legs in most cases. There are many people who don't have two legs. But many of them do better than many people with 4 hands, 2 hands, and 2 legs. You find somebody who has been disadvantaged physically, in a better shape than the one who is 6 feet tall, both hands, swollen chest, just chewing funny things. And he's young. He's 18, he's 19, he's 20, he's 25, but he's there. And then we are so quick to listen to those who will tell us what your problems are and who is responsible for it, without pointing it out to you that actually you are responsible for it. What do you have? And how do we deploy what you have to deal with the challenges that you face or challenges that face you? Face your community, face your country, with what you have as young people. Energy, yes. Youthfulness, yes. And so many other things that you can do. How do we tap into that resource? How do you make it available so that we can use these things? So you need a roadmap. You need a direction pointer. You need a true magnetic north. Everything turmoil what, but the magnet points back to the north. Your guiding star. What is it? What is it that you cannot do without? What is it that if you are put underwater without air, the minute you step out, you would immediately say, I want this? What is it? Find it. And if I find mine, Honorable Dakasi finds his, General Muntu finds his, and the collective findings. Oh yes. What could stop you? Because you become a big voice. And the voice of the people is the voice of God. So, I just come to ask these questions, to get us to start thinking slightly differently. When we were at the university, the way we used to think probably was different than the way General Muntu, the class of General Muntu used to think when they were at the university. How we used to think when we were at the university. If I compare with the generation of universities, with a lot of you in universities, I say, what just happened to human beings? Because certainly your priorities are upside down. I speak to students, and I just wonder. I say, was I ever like this? I don't remember, because I was never like that. At the university, I started something called the Ideological College. It became very big. Every Thursday afternoon, we engage for 2 to 3 hours. Discussion, we call ministers. It became so big that one time I even called Al-Turabi. That's when my problem started. Al-Turabi came. He was the ideologue of Omar Bashir, of the agenda of Sudan to change the whole of Sudan, including South Sudan. He was the ideologue. He came. He was supposed to fly back that evening, he didn't. Say, you have an interesting young group of young people here. He stayed for another day. And the next day we started at 10 o'clock in the morning. The whole day nobody went for lunch. Engaging with the ideologue of a regime that had become fairly oppressive to another category of people. Those are the university days. I remember we held the Jamaria for the Libyan people. I think we also hosted something about the PLO. Those are the things I remember about my university days. Go there now, Makerere, go there. Let's step back and look at these things again. Because the purpose is bigger. The purpose is humanity. The spirit of Ubuntu. You are because I am. Nothing less. That's why we send thieves to jail. That's why we send killers to jail. Because they are disrupting the equilibrium of society. They are disrupting humanity. They are disrupting the spirit of Ubuntu. So we send them to jail through due processes. So we need to start thinking again. Our world is faced with lots of challenges. Youth unemployment is one of them. Climatic change is one of them. Even food shortage is one of them. As young people, how do we develop ideas around these things and make ourselves a hub or a manufacturing unit for ideas to grant solutions to those things that afflict our people, rather than becoming the problem ourselves? We have been trained, we have gone through processes, we have the capacity to think, we can read, we can analyze, we can do research and compare situations and then say, we recommend this as a solution. How do we achieve that? Let's not think about the future, let's make the future. Let's not plan about the future. Let's work in the future. Because the future is already here. Yesterday was yesterday. Yesterday you would have said tomorrow. Tomorrow was the future of yesterday. I mean, tomorrow is the future of today. Today is the future of yesterday. So which future are you talking about? My understanding is the future is any period you have not yet reached. So tomorrow is the future, part of the future. Tomorrow, henceforth, is the future. These opportunities that we have should be able to generate for us a blueprint. How we think, what we think, the choices we make, what relationships we create to achieve what purpose. This opportunity should always give us that. And when we do this, because we are the ones with the most energy to run around and do them anyway, even if General Muntu was to go back to the bush today, he would not be able to do the things he did when he first went, because the usefulness has gone. The running, the what, he cannot now do it that well. But you have that advantage. How do we use it? How do we leverage it to the advantage of the people of God? How do we do that? As a question, I leave with you. And I don't expect answers in words. I expect answers in action. May God bless you. Thank you.